Welcome to another public live stream session. Man, do we have a lot to talk about. So the first part of this live stream is going to be about the 10 steps of my financial independence checklist. And the second part of this video is going to be about the FOMC meeting. That's going to be the FOMC meeting that's going to be with the Jerome Powell having a press conference at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time or 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They're going to announce the interest rates at 11 a.m. PST, which is not going to be for another hour. We should find out how much interest rates are going to increase for the March 2023 FOMC meeting. But before I get into the financial independence checklist, I just want to say thank you so much for all of my loyal subscribers. You guys are literally helping me grow my channel. Okay. And I really value all of the inputs that you guys give me. I welcome all the positive and negative comments too. And I want to hear what people disagree with. I never want to just hear what people say. I agree with you completely. I want to hear negative comments about the stock market, investment strategies, or something else. I got thick skin, okay? I can take it, I promise you. And second, I absolutely believe in free financial education. I really do. And what is a Roth IRA? What is a 401k? What's an ETF? What's a mutual fund? What are the differences? That information should be free for you, for everyone, instead of you paying thousands of dollars to a financial advisor when you could just get that information for free on the internet. So people ask me, hey, Sai, how do you monetize your channel, right? And I got the YouTube ads to do that for me. When you guys watch my videos, I get the YouTube ads. I get that YouTube AdSense to pay my channel, to upgrade my equipment and all that stuff. And I also have a private membership program and the private clients that pay me to help them out with the specialized financial coaching services. And people ask me why I don't make courses for the audience to make more money. I feel like that's a lazy way for me to just, hey, watch all of my content and pay thousands of dollars that you could just Google search anywhere on the internet. I'm more for, just have that personal interaction with private clients, individual clients, or in a group coaching session, or in this environment. So, I really enjoy talking to people because everyone's financial situation is completely different. You all have a unique financial situation. So first one I want to talk about. Anyway, first thing I want to talk about is the purpose of saving and investing for financial independence. You're watching this because you're in one of the following situations, financial situations. One, you're trying to get out of debt. Two, you just start investing. And three, you've been investing for a while, but you're trying to figure out how to make your investment portfolio so massive that you never have to worry about working ever again. And let me know in the comment section down below where you are on the FIRE journey. And every time you have $1, and you save $1 to your 401k, Roth IRA, invest in stocks, ETFs, mutual funds, or just cash, you're assigning a purpose to every dollar you're saving, right? You're not just saving money because you want to hoard it for the rest of your life. Even with a 401k, TSP, or 403b, you're investing for your retirement so that you're eventually going to use it or spend it. You're saving cash for the travel that you have coming up this year, or you're investing in a taxable brokerage account so that you can buy a rental property in a few years. You may be saving money in your kid's college 529 so that your kid doesn't need to take out a student loan like you did. You may be building a real estate portfolio so that you can pass down your assets to your kids or grandkids. So the bottom line is that you know how much money is coming into your checking account. And now you need to know how much is going out to your expenses, savings, and investments. So again, I want you to ask yourself the purpose or the why you're saving and investing. My wife and I are saving 70% of our income this year to achieve financial freedom and retire early from the workforce in our 40s so we can truly enjoy our lives by traveling the world. But we don't just save 70% of our income and not have fun at all. That's probably the biggest misconception about the FIRE movement, is that if you save money now, you're not going to have any fun at all. Or right now, that's not the case at all. Of that 70% that we save and invest, we assign a purpose or reason for every dollar we put in to our savings or investment account. And we include our travel fund or any fund money in our savings rate, because for every dollar we're saving right now, we're going to spend it one way or another, either now or later. I talked about the bucket strategy in the previous live stream, and that you should have a savings plan for long-term, intermediate, and short-term goals. So your gross savings rate could be 50%, but your net savings rate could be 40 or 45%. That makes sense so far, right? But we each get one life on this planet. And I have a bucket list that I want to cross off every year. And I want to visit every Major League Baseball park and every NFL stadium and go to the Super Bowl every year and visit every hockey arena in the US. My wife wants to take a picture in front of a waterfall for every state or country that we visit. I don't want to turn 70 years old and look back at my life and say, I could have done more. So you're not just saving money now, and you don't get to enjoy any of the money you're saving today. You have to learn to have fun while you're on the FIRE journey. The only exception is if you're in a massive debt. You have to make the sacrifice of paying off your debt now by grinding and working extra jobs. And that is coming from someone who once had $110,000 in consumer debt. And I sacrificed 2 years of my life paying off my credit cards, personal loans, auto loans, and the TSP loan that I could save and invest 50, so that now I could save and invest 50, 60, and now 70% of my income. Do I regret paying off my debt? Absolutely not. I love being debt free with the exception of my mortgage. You're going to feel that huge weight off your shoulders when you no longer carry any debt. And it's an amazing feeling to have, and it changes your perspective on money. And because money is just a tool, people who are obsessed with money are usually the ones in a very unhealthy relationship with their money. And not once have I ever said on this channel that you need at least $1 million to be comfortable. I've never said you need $2 million or $5 million to be truly happy or retire early. And I always say that money is a resource or tool that can help you achieve your goals and purpose. This is why understanding your purpose of achieving financial independence or early retirement is far more important than the average return on investment from stocks, ETFs, or mutual funds that you're currently investing in. So when you say, I don't make enough money, or I need to save more money, I want you to take a step back and take a look at the big picture. I want you to ask yourself why you need to make more money or why you need to save more money. What is your purpose? Because I know there are people who make over $100,000 a year and still live paycheck to paycheck or are just unhappy. So after knowing your purpose, now let's talk about the how. How are you going to save and invest your money? This is my financial independence checklist. I created this checklist over a year ago. This is the how part of your FIRE journey. And I've been following this checklist without knowing that I've been following this checklist. You're going to find many other YouTubers or financial influencers with their own version of the financial checklist. Now, I'm not trying to compete with them at all. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to win you over to use my free checklist of resources. But the first step is to calculate your FIRE number. You need to know how much you need to have saved and invested without having an active income. My basic formula to calculate the FIRE number is the annual expenses multiplied by 25, and that's how much I need invested to retire early. I also multiply my annual expenses by 3, and that's how much I need saved to retire early. Before you calculate your FIRE number, you'll need to assess your overall financial health. You can ask yourself the following self-assessment questions. How much do you need or do you have saved in your retirement, such as 401k, TSP, or IRA? What is the cash value of your pension fund, if you have any. What is your credit score? Are you retiring with a balance on your mortgage or a paid off home? How much cash do you have in your savings? And what are your expenses for non-discretionary items? And those should be your essential expenses like rent, mortgage payments, HOA, gas, insurance, and things that you cannot live without, even during in your retirement. How much do you have saved outside your retirement and emergency fund? And after answering these questions, you'll need to calculate your net worth. Calculating your net worth is a good indicator of your overall financial health. And you can download both My Net Worth Calculator and Fire Calculator for free by visiting firestation.com/contact. On your net worth statement, you want to see if you have too much real estate or too much cash. Maybe you have too much in your retirement and not have enough in cash. You want to see if your net worth is actually balanced and not lopsided with one category more than the other. Oh, sorry about that. Let me fix the chat here. Yep. All right. Somebody was asking me why the chat was. It's turned on to members only because I've had so many bots, and until YouTube can do something about that, people are impersonating my YouTube profile and go in there and just talk about, WhatsApp me and stuff like that. I don't want people to, become victims. I know all of you guys are smart about that, but there's, they're phishing, right? I don't want people to become victims of, people trying to scam me out of money and all that. So that's why I have the members only chat turned on. You can always join my private membership group if you want to. And this is also being live streamed to the private Facebook group as well. All right. And the second step is to have your rainy day fund that will cover your insurance deductible. So if your car insurance deductible is $500 and your medical deductible is another $500 and your homeowner's insurance deductible is $1,000, then you should have at least $2,000 saved in your rainy day fund, where you can access your cash immediately. This step is actually separate from your emergency fund, and because you're not maxing out your emergency fund until you reach step 5. And this is the cash reserve that's not too small, but also not too big in case of an emergency. The whole point of having some cash reserved in a rainy day fund is so that you don't get into more debt if you're already in debt. So if you don't have any debt, then obviously you don't need to do this step and just skip right to step 5. But just remember that if you ever need to use the cash and you're on step 4, you need to come back to step 2 to replenish your rainy day fund. You should only use it if it's something unexpected and necessary. Don't use it for entertainment, fun, and something else that's unnecessary. Remember those 2 words: expected, right? And necessary. Those are the 2 words that you need to use any of your rainy day fund. And after you have your rainy day fund set up, the next step is to save for your retirement, like your 401k, 403b, or TSP, but only up to your employer match. So if your employer offers a 100% match of your 5% personal contribution, then you should save at least 5% of your gross income to your 401k. You should never leave free money on the table, especially from your employer. If you don't have an employer match, then you just simply skip the step. And having your employer match is like getting a bonus from your employer. It's the same concept, all right? And my previous employer gave me 4% of my gross salary when I contributed 8% of my gross income. So that alone allowed me to save 12% of my income. If my employer gave me $5,000 a year for the next 20 years, with an 8% average return, that's almost $250,000 in free money from my employer with interest and earnings. And I'll say this again, don't ever leave free money on the table, ever. And after you complete the first 3 steps of my FIRE checklist, then you're going to start paying off your debt, except for your mortgage. And you shouldn't start paying off your debt until you figure out your FIRE number or the purpose of getting on your financial independence journey. You shouldn't start paying off your debt until you have your rainy day fund up to your insurance deductibles, because you don't want to add more debt if you ever get into something unexpected. And you also shouldn't start paying off your debt until you check with your employer to make sure that you're getting the employer match. And when you're on the debt-free journey, it's not always about the interest rates. Some people believe that if they have less than 4% in APR, then it's okay to just pay it off slowly. Again, you have to look at it from a different perspective. You need to work on increasing your savings rate, but making $500 a month in car payments or $600 in car payments is preventing you from saving or investing money towards financial independence. And when I was $110,000 in consumer debt, I had credit cards, personal loans, car loans, and the TSP loan, also known as the 401k loan. You should not hold on to your student loan for more than 3 years after you graduate from college, because you're supposed to use your income to pay back your student loan, right? And holding it for more than 3 years just becomes a bad debt, regardless of the interest rates you're paying. Credit cards are another one that people fall for with the introductory 0% interest rate, but people end up spending more than they should. And for car loans, have you ever wondered why cars become so upside down in value against what you actually owe on the loan? And you bought a car in 2019 for $25,000, and your car is now worth $10,000 in 2023, but you still have $15,000 on the loan. This happens to Americans every single day. And it happened to me several times, and it just never clicked for me, right? And I just continued to carry over the losses to the next car loan when I traded in for a new vehicle. And I made car payments for 12 years straight because I traded in my vehicle every 3 to 5 years. With my car being upside down in value every single time, you need to have the plan to pay it off within a year or 2 years at the most, because if not, you can't afford that car. Otherwise, enjoy making car payments for the rest of your life. And I have some other strategies about the car payments. Is typically, 1 year may be a lot, right? If you're making less than $100,000 a year, but you want to have a solid, reliable car. I understand that. I completely understand. Have a plan. That's what I'm asking you to do, is have a plan to pay it off within a year, 2 years, 3 years, probably the max. If it's more than 2 years, with the depreciation, it's really not worth it. Not to me personally, anyway. So that's kind of my take on that. And you have two approaches to tackling your debt, right? You can use the avalanche method or the snowball method. With the avalanche method, you list your debt from the highest interest rates to the lowest interest rates, regardless of the balance. With the snowball method, you list your debt from the smallest balance to the highest balance, regardless of the interest rates. So let me give you an example. Let's say you have $15K credit cards. Okay. And that's about a 20% interest rates. And you have $10K in car loans, or just one loan. And you have $20K in student loan. And let's say the car loan is 4%. I know it's a lot higher now, but say student loan is 7%. Okay. And if you're using the avalanche method, you pay off your debt in this order. So you would do credit cards first with a 20% interest rate, your student loan second, and your car loans would be third. And you can pay off your debt faster this way because you're tackling the highest interest rates first. And if you're using the snowball method, where's my eraser? There we go. Then you're going to pay off your debt in this order: $10,000 in credit card debt, car loans, and $15,000 in credit card debt, and then $20,000 in the student loan. When you tackle your debt from the smallest to the largest balance, you're psychologically feeling more accomplished by eliminating one debt at a time. And you're going to feel more motivated to tackle one debt after another. And when I say, when people say which method is better, it really depends. Personally, I did, when I had $110,000 in consumer debt, I did the smallest to largest, but I knocked out my credit cards first because those interest rates at the time, this was back in 2013, 2014, they were killing me. I had like 15, 18, I think one of them was like 28% in credit card APR. So I knocked out my credit cards and I did the smallest to largest by selling my cars, and I moved on to the next ones one after another. I know some other financial influencers, they say, snowball method is always the best. I think it really depends. If you have a payday loan that's charging you 700%, 800%, I think that should be the first one to knock out for sure. So it really depends. And I do have a debt spreadsheet that you can use for free. You can go to firesidechat.com/contact. And I used this back in 2013, 2014, and I paid off my debt in 2016. Let's say you have $15,000 in car loans this year, and you're going to put the interest rates up top here at 4%, just as an example. You can also adjust the dates on the left side from the biweekly. Let's say you can do it biweekly if that's how frequently you get paid, or you can do it on the 1st and the 15th. Just depends on how frequently you get paid. So if you make a $500 car payment every 2 weeks instead of every month, your balance by the end of the year would be reduced to $2,400, because not only are you paying down the principal, but you're also saving money on interest charged every month because the principal is smaller, right? So let's say, let's do 600, okay? Then you have your car paid off by December 5th, right here. And that's assuming that you start your debt-free journey in January. And you can download all of my financial independence checklist, all of my resources for absolutely free by visiting firesidechat.com/contact. And let me just show you my website real quick, because they are absolutely free. Which button should I choose? Okay, there we go. All you have to do, fill out your info. I don't sell you anything. If you want to get more out of it, you can always contact me by emailing me at hello@firesidechat.com. You can DM me on Instagram. You can DM me on Facebook. You can leave me a comment on YouTube and just let me know where you are if you want to talk more. And you can also go to, what's the other? Okay, this is not working. There we go. Nope, not working at all. iPad. There we go. Weird. All right. So if you want to get free coaching, you can go to firesidechat.com/coaching to basically, if you want to have a chat, a one-on-one individual chat about your personal finances, you can schedule a free 20-minute individual coaching session. And if you're a veteran, you can schedule it for a 30-minute coaching session for free, because I'm a veteran too. And I'm all about helping other veterans in the country. And I just check my booking calendar right now, and I'm fully booked for the free sessions until the end of May. And, I can try to open more appointment slots in the future, but it's going to be pretty difficult between the private clients and creating content. So I'll try to see. Just send me an email or leave me a comment, and I can try to find out if I can make more room on the calendar. But right now, it is just, I am completely slammed between the coaching, the paid private clients, and the group session. So anyway, all right. And the next one I want to talk about, it's an emergency fund for step 5. So once you're debt free, except for your mortgage, the next step is to fully fund your emergency savings. And I know a lot of my clients have asked me in the past if they should save for an emergency fund and invest at the same time. When you're on step 5, you're already doing that. You're already saving and investing at the same time if you have the employer match with your 401k, 403b, or TSP on step 3 of my FIRE checklist. If your employer doesn't make any employer match, then I would just focus on increasing your cash reserve. And I know you're super excited about, investing, but you need to increase your cash reserve and not have all of your money tied up in your investment or your retirement accounts. A lot of Americans today are very cash poor because they have too much tied up in real estate or retirement. If something necessary and unexpected happens to you, you don't want to pay 30 or 40% in taxes and penalties because you have to withdraw it from your retirement account, right? Those are some of the mistakes I made back in 2013 by borrowing from my TSP, which is the federal government version of the 401k, if you didn't know what a TSP was. Your whole goal in step 5 is to make sure that you don't go back to step 4 to get yourself back into debt again. And if you're wondering how much you need in your emergency savings, the basic rule of thumb is if you're a single individual, single income household, excuse me, you should have at least 6 months of your expenses saved in cash. If you're in a dual income household, let's say you and your spouse both work, then you want to save at least 3 months of your expenses saved. So if one of you becomes unemployed, there's a higher probability that the other spouse still brings in the income, right? And just keep in mind that anytime you think you need to use your emergency fund or emergency savings, you need to ask yourselves the following: if the expense is both necessary and unexpected. Remember those two words. Again, necessary and unexpected. Your trip to Hawaii is not necessary or unexpected, right? But your blown tire is. That was unexpected, and it's necessary for you to replace that tire. Drink some coffee real quick, because this is where the fun begins. Okay. And step 6 is truly when the fun begins. If you watch my last live stream, I talked about prioritizing long-term investments. And when it comes to choosing which one to prioritize between 401k, Roth IRA, or HSA, this is the best answer I can come up with. And I'm always going to prioritize the employer match with the 401k because that's free money from my employer. That second one, the second one I prioritize is my HSA because of the triple tax advantages that comes with it. And then the third one is the Roth IRA because of its tax-free growth and withdrawals. So basically, it's employer match, HSA, and then Roth. And I understand that not every employer offers the high deductible health plan or HDHP so that you can contribute to the HSA. And I know if you receive VA disability or you're on TRICARE, then you're not eligible to contribute to an HSA. But I encourage you to find out if your employer offers an HDHP for your HSA. Here's why. The HSA is a triple tax advantage account that allows you to contribute in pre-tax dollars. So that lowers your taxable income. The best way to do this is to work with your employer's HR to have your paycheck deducted so you can decrease your taxable income instead of waiting until the following year when you file your taxes with the IRS. Also keep in mind that your employer could give you a match to your HSA contribution. And unlike the 401k, the employer match will count towards your personal contribution limit. For example, if you're, the family contribution limit is, I believe, $7,750. And your employer contributes $500, then your personal contribution limit is $7,250. So that's a little bit different from the 401k. And the HSA can also grow your investments tax-free. And I have, personally, I have Optum Bank for my HSA, and I just started HSA last year, and I have all kinds of mutual funds that are available to me. And I can do the target date retirement fund with Schwab and Vanguard index funds like the S&P 500, REITs, and small cap and medium cap mutual funds. And I'm not going to tell you what to invest, but having a 7% average annual return for an individual HSA fund starting at age 30 for the next 20 years is $360,000. And the average medical cost for retirees per couple is about $300,000 throughout their retirement. So the HSA is a big part of our early retirement plan. Because the other advantage the HSA has is that it allows you to withdraw from it tax-free if you can provide medical, dental, or vision receipts. There's no deadline on these receipts. So you can get medical treatments today in 2023 and then reimburse yourself 20 years from now in the year 2043. It's completely up to you. When you turn 65, though, you can withdraw from your HSA without providing any proof of medical expenses. You would just have to pay the income taxes that are applicable to you. And the 20% penalty tax is completely waived. But before you turn 65, make sure to keep every single medical receipt from the doctor's office in case the IRS does an audit on your tax return. We save every single HSA receipt for us so we can use that for our early retirement. And the Roth IRA is just a no-brainer. My wife and I are maximizing our contributions every year. And I don't want to go too in depth because I'm going to do a future live stream on this, but basically you can either contribute directly to the Roth IRA or do a backdoor Roth IRA, and it depends on your annual modified adjusted gross income. And if you're under the income threshold set by the IRS, then you can directly contribute to your Roth IRA from your checking account. And if you're above the income threshold, then you can do what's called a backdoor Roth IRA by opening both traditional IRA and Roth IRA. And I will link those videos in the description below. And you should understand the differences between the two and how they will affect your taxes for the year. And you probably just did taxes recently, so you can actually look at your 1040 return and just search. I can't remember which page it's on. I'm not a CPA, but you can control find modified adjusted gross income. If you did it on TurboTax, you can actually find that too. And it'll tell you MAGI, that's modified adjusted gross income from 2022. And then you can figure out if you're under the income threshold to directly contribute to the Roth IRA, or if you need to do a backdoor Roth IRA because you're above the income threshold, okay? And just remember that the Roth IRA is your core retirement account, right? So your 401k or TSP is only only active as long as you're employed with that company. Your Roth IRA is yours to manage for the rest of your life. And you can do that with a 401k or TSP after you leave your employer, but you just can't contribute to it anymore. You have to move. You know what? I'm going to talk about that some other day, or it's going to be a super long video. But what comes down to it is your Roth IRA should be your core retirement account. And you have the option to roll your employee retirement accounts to traditional and Roth IRAs if you want to, if that's what you choose to do. And what you directly contribute to the Roth IRA is already tax-free and penalty-free. So you can take out your contributions at any time. And the earnings and interest are what you need to wait until you're 59 and a half to withdraw tax-free from your Roth IRA. So just keep that in mind when you're doing the Roth IRA. There are so many rules, and I have so many videos on the Roth IRA. You can check them out. Just kind of like talk about the direct contributions, the rollovers, the conversions. I know there are a lot of differences. So, you want to be careful. And I know some people use the Roth IRA as an emergency fund. I never recommend that. Reason number one, Roth IRA, when you pull money out, you don't get taxed or penalized again because the government can tax you twice. But you're going to slow the growth of your retirement. And number two, it's just, cash. It's much easier to use for your emergency fund. So that's something that you want to keep an eye on. And okay, yeah. So how is HSA better than Roth IRA? So I'm going to explain it to you real quick. That's a good question. Okay, so let's say I'm going to make it easier. Okay, so let's say your HSA is you're contributing $7,000. So let's say your marginal tax rate, your highest tax rate is 22%. You are literally saving money on that 22% marginal tax rate. So not only is this going into your HSA in pre-tax dollars, oh, you know what? This is actually a quadruple tax advantages because not only you save money on Fed tax, federal income tax, state tax, FICA, that will be your Social Security and Medicare. And then you save money on, that's about it, right? Yeah. Okay. So Medicare and Social Security. So they don't take the money out for Medicare, Social Security, federal income tax, or state income tax when you put $7,000 into the HSA. So you could theoretically, let's say you make $100,000 a year and you're in the 22% marginal tax bracket. That's $2,200, right? And you could save money on that tax. And I don't have the tax calculator in front of me, but you could save a lot of money on taxes just by contributing to the HSA. What's really awesome about the differences between, the HSA and Roth IRA is that it grows tax-free, just like the Roth IRA. It does. But I prioritize HSA because of the pre-tax contributions, because of these three. You don't get to do that with the Roth IRA. Roth IRA, it has to be your post-tax dollars. It has to be your after-tax money that comes from your checking account, right? And that's called a non-deductible contributions if you're doing the backdoor Roth IRA. But anyway, because you get that pre-tax contributions with the HSA, I'm always going to prioritize HSA over the Roth IRA. So that's the reason why. Good question. Really good question. I really love the HSA, and I understand that not everybody's going to get that opportunity to do it, especially if you're a veteran with the disability, or if you're on TRICARE active duty, you don't have you won't get the HSA. Okay. All right. So once you maximize your Roth IRA and HSA contributions, the next step is to max out your employer retirement above whatever you contribute to get your employer match back in step 3 of my checklist. In 2023, the maximum personal contribution limit is $22,500. So if you're already contributing to the employer match, then you want to go above and beyond and invest up to the maximum, because with a 7% average annual return and a $500 contribution increase every year, you're going to reach $1 million just in your 401k in 18 years. If you're self-employed with a solo 401k, let's say you're a self-employed like me, your limit is a lot higher because you can do both employee and employer contributions. And depending on your salary, you may already be saving about 20 or 25% of your gross income towards your retirement. While I encourage you to maximize your retirement contributions every year, you want to make sure that you don't become cash poor and have too much in retirement. So make sure to have a balance between your cash savings and retirement investing. And the next step is to achieve a 50% savings rate. You can accomplish this by contributing more to your retirement, opening a taxable investment account, a 529 or UTMA for your kids. You also want to use your gross income to calculate your savings rate, because your after-tax income fluctuates based on the federal or state income tax rates. For example, if you make $150,000 a year and save $75,000 a year, then that's a 50% savings rate, right? And here's some additional tips that to save half of your income. If you're in a dual income household, try to save one income and spend the other one. You can also open FSAs or flexible spending accounts that could lower your taxable income. The common ones are the healthcare FSA, dependent care FSA, and the limited purpose healthcare FSA. And if you have children, then consider opening a 529 college savings plan to save for their K-12 or college expenses. And laws changed on the 529 a while ago. You don't have to use the 529 on their 4-year degree anymore. You can use it for their K-12 if you want to send them to private college. Just check with your state to make sure you have that eligibility. And you can also gift your children by opening UTMA or UGMA accounts. My daughter has a UTMA account and a 529. So 529 is going to be more for her books, educational expenses, right? UTMA is going to be used for, say, a deposit for her apartment, or maybe to buy a car or buy something else to kind of help her get started in whatever life that she chooses to do. she goes to college, she doesn't just rely on the 529, but she can also rely on the UGMA. So check with your state. It's this one right here, UTMA or UGMA to use it. And flexible spending account, you can't carry over the balance every year like the HSA. So just make sure that you have to use it every year. So this is just one way to save gross income, and then you can calculate the net income, net savings rate. Sorry, not the income. All right. So, but most people increase their savings rate by investing in taxable investment accounts, so they can have access to them during their early retirement. Right. So, I talked about the dividend investing strategy in my last live stream, and you can check that out on my live stream playlist. You can do the mega backdoor Roth with your 401k if your employer offers what's called the in-plan rollovers or in-service withdrawals. That process is pretty complicated, but you can get with your HR and the 401k broker to find out if they have a process in place. So instead of just doing the $22,500 for the personal contribution, you can also, you can roll that right into the Roth IRA. Again, that process, I have a video on that. I think I made it about a year and a half ago. You can check it out. Just type in mega backdoor Roth fireside chat, and then you should be able to find it. And step 9 of the FIRE checklist is to build generational wealth. You can arguably put steps 8 and 9 together, but I wanted to separate them for several reasons. When you're on this step, you're most likely close to or in the financial independence stage. What my wife and I are building now can be passed down from our generation to the next generation. Generational wealth can be our cash, investment funds, properties, and businesses, right? If I'm done with this business, I can pass it down to my child or grandchild if they want to. We want to create a legacy that my previous generations couldn't do in the past. And this is the stage to create estate planning with your spouse. And it doesn't matter how old you are. You should always have a will in place in case something devastating happens to you. If you're a high net worth individual, I would say beginning with $500,000, you should consider forming a trust to have more control of your assets in the event of your death. And you should designate beneficiaries for every bank account, investment account, and any properties you have under your name. The last thing you want is for your family to fight over your properties in probate after you pass away, or you forgot to update your beneficiaries. You still have your ex-wife or your ex-husband on your beneficiary, and you suddenly pass away. Now your ex gets, your Roth IRA, and you're just going to end up pissing off your family members, right? That's something that you don't want your family members to go through. And what I also encourage you to do is really to educate your kids or grandkids about financial education. And you don't have to wait until you're on step 8 or 9 of the FIRE checklist. You can share some of the financial mistakes that you made in the past and how you overcome those mistakes. Teach them how to be generous, like you are, to the community. And by step 6, you can choose to set aside some money for charities or the community. You can even do a random act of kindness without asking for anything in return, right? But I recommend that you wait until you have a fully funded emergency fund in step 5, before you start donating to charities. You want to make sure that your finances are in order before you're generous to others. Okay. So this is I could argue that you can actually start doing the will and trust if you're like on step 6 and step 7. And typically if you have like over $500,000 in net worth, start doing the umbrella insurance. So if you get sued for more money, you're protected with the umbrella insurance. It's really worth having that. So definitely recommend doing that if you're already in that stage. And last step, the final step is to pay off the mortgage. And this step can be in the earlier step if you're close to your retirement age. So before you start paying off your mortgage, you should consider your age, risk management, and your overall net worth. And I've had this question from one of my clients in the past, whether he should pay off his personal loan or mortgage loan first. And I know what most of you guys would say, well, duh, pay off your personal loan first. And if you have any debt other than your mortgage, you should pay off those things first, right? If you don't have enough saved in your retirement, you should prioritize your retirement first. This is again where you assess your net worth so that you don't have too much in real estate while you don't have enough in retirement, right? And next one is to assess your age and risks. If I'm in my 50s or 60s, I would pay extra on my primary home mortgage while I'm investing in retirement. While I'm in my 20s, 30s, or 40s, I would prioritize investing because before paying down the mortgage, because time is on my side to allow my retirement investments to grow exponentially. I talked extensively in the last video I did on how to decide whether you should pay down your mortgage or not. I'll put that link in the description below as well. And so you should definitely consider those three things: age, risk management, and your overall net worth, so you're not too heavy in real estate and not having enough in your retirement. So anyway, these are the 10 steps of the financial independence checklist that I have been following since 2017 so that I can retire early. All right. What do we got here? How am I doing on time? 10:46. Okay, so in about 13 minutes, we should find out what the Fed rate decision is. Let me see if I got some Q&A here from the messages. Okay, yeah, good question. So, all right, I got a question from Jesse. I am 28 years old and I'm maxing out my retirement contributions every year between my 401k and Roth IRA. Is contributing 30% of my income too much in retirement investments? Okay, so if I had to guess, you're probably making like about $100,000 a year and you're maxing out your 401k at $22,500 and you're doing the Roth IRA at $6,500, so $29,000. So that's about, okay, so pretty close to 30% of your income. What I would do is really assess your overall finances. There's no such thing as, to me personally anyway, if you're maximizing your contributions every year, your retirement contributions, you're going to thank yourself later on. Okay. However, right now, if you're cash poor, right? Again, back to step 3 and 4. If you don't have enough cash saved, you need to prioritize that. Like if you don't have your 6 months of expenses saved in your emergency fund, you need to prioritize having that in your cash savings. If you're looking to travel, you want to spend $3,000 on a trip to Europe or Asia or whatever, it's okay to slow down your retirement contributions a little bit and make sure that you have some of the cash savings for it. You want to have that balance, right? Again, it really comes down to looking at your net worth statement. So let's say you have like $200,000 in retirement and you have, let's say, $5,000 in cash. To me, that's probably cash poor because now you have less than 5% of your assets in cash. So maybe slow down on your retirement, boost your emergency savings or cash allocation in your net worth. I typically like to save about 10 to 15% of my net worth just in cash savings. So if anything happens, anything unnecessary and unexpected happens, then I can use my emergency fund. Excuse me. And I have several savings accounts. It's not just the emergency savings. I have annual expenses fund that's going to be, if that costs more than $100 at any given time, I can just use my annual expenses spending account. I have a discretionary fund that's for entertainment that I get to use for, like a concert. We're going to see Taylor Swift on Friday, taking my daughter and my wife there at the Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. Took it out of the discretionary fund, right? And we also have a travel fund that we like to travel every year. We're going to Disney World, Disneyland, Legoland, going to visit our families and different states and all that. Those are really important to have. So we're never going to be short on cash, So we don't end up using our credit card. And we love credit cards. Don't get me wrong. If you're carrying a balance on your credit card every single month, then you need to pay that off as soon as you can. But we love using credit cards because we literally use free points, free night stay at Marriott because I have a Marriott credit card. But we're making sure that we have a purpose of spending all that money too. We're not just like lavishly spending money, $2,000, and I don't even know where that money is going to come from. No, I have a purpose assigned for it, every single one of them. That's what you want to do, is make sure that you have a balance in your cash. You have, you're contributing 30% to your retirement. Just make sure that you don't forget about the cash savings too. And what if you're saving for your first house, right? You want to create some kind of bucket to save for your first home. Maybe you're trying to buy a rental property. You want to have a separate savings account, or maybe use the CD ladder to take advantage of the 4%, 5% CD APY. It's really tremendous right now with the high interest rates. Take advantage of that, okay? And like I said, go back to your budget. You know how much money you make. Let's say $100,000 a year. Take a look at how much is going out. 30% retirement, 10% cash, 10% whatever, real estate or something like that. Assign a purpose so you know where every dollar is going, okay? Really good question. Okay, next question. How much should I contribute to my kids' 529? Should I prioritize my retirement or my kids' college fund? Retirement. Every single time you should prioritize your retirement for your kids' college fund. Here's the reason why. Your kids' college lasts 4 years. Your retirement lasts forever. That's it. No, let me tell you more. You should always contribute to your retirement, right? Because that's your long-term strategy. So it really depends on where you want your kids to go to college. But that's really hard to answer that question too, because you don't know where your kid might end up going. Your kid might not end up going to college at all. But there's a new law that says that you can roll over that 529 college savings plan to the IRA. Did a video on that a couple months ago. You can check that out. But you want to see how much college might cost, and if you can't fund it 100% of your kid's college 529, that's okay. It's completely okay. You just want to make sure that you are not lagging on your retirement contributions. You want to make sure that your money you are saving for your long term, right? And if you don't have any room to save for your kids' 529, so be it. But how much should you contribute to your 529? Start with $25 a month. Maybe start with $50 a month, and then eventually you can get to $100 a month, because you can invest in the mutual funds, like high growth mutual fund, the S&P 500 mutual fund, in the college 529. And also, I know a lot of veterans actually transfer their GI Bill over to their kids, and I did that for my daughter. The 529 that I have, I could use that for the K-12 educational expenses. So if I decide to send my daughter to a private college or private high school, I can use her 529 and to pay for the high school if I want to. So anyway, it's going to be that's something that you want to have a calculator for your 529. All right. Here's the second part of the live stream. I'm going to take a look and see what's going on with the Fed, and while I do some research.